Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Mili reaction. If you hear my air conditioner, no you don't. Ignore it. It's extremely humid and hot the next couple days in my area, so you're gonna have some background noise with that, but it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we're gonna be doing Mortal with You today. This was requested by Vanilla Love in the comments of the last video, and a lot of people agreed, like about 50 plus. So I know that this has to be a good one. I've never seen Vermeil in Gold. I did see it float around a few years ago when it was probably airing, but I never watched it. I think it was just because it was a shorter series. I didn't end up picking it up that time around, but apparently this is the ED for that, so that's kind of neat. I always love hearing stuff that Mili does that's anime adjacent because it always changes their sound a little bit. They go for a different tone, so I'm expecting very much the same thing here. So I guess without further ado, let's go! Man, that's gotta be... There's no way that's a cello. That's low. Double bass, maybe? Ooh. I like how vulnerable this feels immediately. Ooh. Oh, the rhythm change threw me off there, but... the intensity of this one, Jesus Christ, like, it felt so panicked there. That's not something I necessarily hear a lot of with Mili. They definitely bump their energy a lot, but usually not to the point of feeling like legitimate panic. There was a stress in that. See, like this time signature is kind of cool for that section. I don't even know what it was. I didn't count it. Ooh, great swell. I love hearing Yamato do his thing on the piano. Again, the change of rhythm there. Get up there. Good Lord, Cassie. I don't know if I've ever heard her go that high. They even came with a resolution on that one. I honestly didn't expect it. I thought they were going to leave it high. Oh man, like I said, you never know what fully to expect from Mili, but when it comes to their anime stuff, it has such a different character to it than their usual stuff, their independent work. So before I get into the song directly, I want to pose a thought I had about Mili as a group again. I do this once in a while whenever something new about a piece of their music like opens another door to me discovering how they might relate to each other and understand each other musically. I learned very recently that Cassie and Yamato are married, and that's awesome, and I believe that with that knowledge, this might be swaying this thought a little bit and pushing me in this direction, but I feel like it also stands on its own as them as artists, not just them as people. Where this song, the way that it was constructed, the way that the lyrics and the instrumental played together, and also with the additional knowledge that apparently Cassie Wei doesn't listen to much music, if any, really, and that kind of led her to create this very unique lyrical style that she carries, and the way that it patterns is very odd and off. It's still very poetic, but it's not the traditional way that you expect songs to be phrased a lot of the time, especially in English. It's just a little weird for the average person, but it still manages to work. And I think the reason that might be working is because of Yamato and Cassie's relationship, and almost Yamato looking at Cassie's interesting different way of handling lyrics and writing and just going, ah yes, a challenge, and basically forming a song around that. This song had a lot of moments where that opinion was bubbling up to the surface of my brain often, where I'm like, this doesn't feel like it should be landing as well as it does. And then I was understanding the piano a little bit more about halfway in when there was that little spot I commented on where it's just Yamato Kasai doing his thing. You know, like an amazing pianist, an amazing writer, able to play with all of these different beat patterns and weird inconsistencies in the music, and almost seeing that as some sort of jazzy influential way to shift the music around, go to different time signatures, and just play with it musically. So you're not playing the same boring thing every single time. And that might be a part of why Mili has such a character as a group. It's just something that I was noticing during this song, and I feel like it's worth mentioning, is that maybe these two are just literally the perfect pair musically. You have somebody who doesn't really know music, at least not in the traditional sense, so they create something a little bit more abstract and interesting to the ear, and then somebody who looks at that not as something negative or something to be conformed, but as somebody who wants that challenge, who wants to take the other person's work and make it as good as they can and work together to create these very interesting pieces. These things that, again, aren't necessarily stereotypical or in the norm. It's just part of who they are and their identity as a group, and it's just really cool to realize that the more I listen to music and with those little nuggets of information I've been fed by the community throughout the time I've listened to them. That's just a neat thing I wanted to mention, but I do want to obviously get into the song. There are details in this that are really cool, but mostly kind of revolve around that idea. So to start lyrically, this song is obviously about somebody who's been trapped or forced in some sort of confinement their entire life, and at some point somebody released them, and this song is kind of them going, thank you for that, and explaining the why, you know, like putting that perspective in for us. I'm assuming that that has something to do with the story of the anime. I'm not entirely sure what exactly the story is. Like I said, I haven't seen it, so I can't tell you, but that would totally make sense. You know, you're reflecting the story that you're trying to tell by making the lyrics do so. Duh. But then musically, you get these interesting moments, these times where things like shift around. There's odd time signatures once or twice, maybe 3 times in there. Again, I wasn't really counting. I was just kind of feeling it out. And I was like, whoa, this is different. For a second there, I thought it was 3/4. It might be 6/8. I couldn't quite tell, but there might have been like a 5/4 or something in there. There was definitely that one section of that bridge where I'm like, hey, whoa, you know, it completely shifted and caught me off guard entirely. And that can also play into the story a little bit. These might be like moments in the song where the characters are kind of having opposition, or they're trying to figure each other out, so things get skewed a little bit. The beat goes off rhythm, things things are just not lining up. And that's an ages-old approach to that exact story beat. You just want something to feel weird, you make it feel weird musically, you know, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. So having those sorts of things in there is exactly why I was saying Yamato Kasai working with Cassie on this is so cool to me, because I feel like he was like, oh, I understand what she's trying to do with the lyrics here. Let me kind of mess it up a little bit. Let's shift things around. Let's make things not normal. Let's make it feel like there's a struggle. And that existed multiple times. And likewise, there was also many swells in this too. So it's like, okay, you're building energy, you're building up to something, and it explodes into something, whether that's the chorus where it had like the biggest impact, or if it's like the very end spot where I was thinking it was going to lift up and stay up there, but then they resolved anyway. So it kind of ended on a very satisfying note instead of leaving you with some room to think about it, you know, like some wiggle room for contemplation. And the strings in this, especially at the very beginning, which I'm pretty sure is still a double bass, because I've never heard a cello go quite that low, albeit I assume it can be done, maybe, but the strings through this entire project were beautiful. And apparently that's the work of Atsuki Yoshida, who did an amazing job to create all these beautiful swells in there. Those definitely helped a lot for this emotional up and down, this roller coaster through this whole song, because every single time, if you match the lyrics to the moments in the song, you're like, oh, they're doing something. Maybe they're going to be set free. Maybe, oh, now they're a little bit more, you know, cautious. They build it down, build it back up, and there's like this trust that's not quite reaching an apex at all during this song until the very end, where it settles into that note. You're like, oh, maybe they finally understand each other. Maybe that's the full conclusion, and that's like a good note. I'm not entirely sure. It could also be seen as like a I give up, you know, like, okay, well, we're just settling and dealing with it. But I choose to believe, at least in my perception of this song, that all of that ebb and flow of the rest of the music is like them kind of trying to get each other and figure each other out. The character that's stuck and the character that freed them or is trying to free them. And this character who's been stuck for so long is probably dealing with so much of that fear, because you're not sure what's going on. You have to be like reacclimated to society if you were ever even a part of it to begin with. There's so much psychological warfare to be had there. And when you have somebody who's just trying to be like, let me help you, damn it, and they're just like, I don't know how to handle people. It kind of reminds me of a story that I have seen the anime for, which is the Ancient Magus Bride, where that relationship with Chise and Elias is very much that yin-yang situation. They're trying to figure each other out. They're not entirely sure how to handle each other at first, and they do figure it out over time, but it takes a while. So this relationship kind of feels the same to me, which makes me feel like I would probably really enjoy this series, and I should probably give it a shot, honestly. But again, more in the broad scope, I feel like Mili handles their anime stuff very differently. This sounds a lot like the stuff they did for Promise of Wizard. Not entirely identical, but definitely has some similarities to how they're approaching it and the sound they're going for. The strings obviously make it a lot more emotional in this one, and the lyrics are a lot more impactful in my opinion. The stuff for Project of Wizard wasn't bad, mind you. It's just more of a different story, and I kind of resonate with this one a little bit more personally. So I vibe with this. I think this is really neat, and it's another sound that, while similar, is still new and still original to this series. They really do pay attention to the show and try to make sure that they're telling the story they need to get these characters and feelings across, instead of just going, oh god, we're doing another anime, and just making bullshit. You know, like, they put their effort in, they put their love into it, and that's how you can tell the difference between a great band and a bad band, you know, just somebody who actually truly cares about making the intent known while they're making music for whatever it is. They care about it every single time, and that's always a good factor. But I think I've yapped about this one enough, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want me to get to something else from Mili, or if you want me to get to something from Limbus Company or anything else Project Moon related, which is usually what these are supposed to be, but so many people have asked for Mili recently, I've just been doing a lot of Mili. So if you want me to keep doing that, then keep telling me to do Mili songs. If not, tell me to do something else and I'll do that. But otherwise, if you just enjoyed this video and you want to follow me and support me for other stuff in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!